Uh, I really want to do the Blueprint Wednesday for Lucilla. Should I? Let me just test out my luck. Okay, first temple. No way! Did I? Is that? Oh my god! Okay, this will be the blueprint. My favorite gacha queen is finally here. Lucilla is finally here. She's hitting numbers that make other Glacial characters look like they forgot to warm up. And I'm speaking as one who mained Carlotta for a long time. And this right here is how you build Lucilla very properly. And I'll show you exactly how to get there from this series, which is called Blueprint Wednesday, where I build different characters. Now, Lucilla is the president of the academy in the Lahairoi region, and her entire kit is built around one single idea: shooting a movie, focus ring, and letting it go. Now, the whole playstyle has a cinematic rhythm that feels completely different from anything else in the roster right now. The thing that most people are getting wrong, Lucilla isn't just a sub DPS, she's a hybrid support. And if you slot her like a standard damage dealer, you're going to leave so much power on the table, it's not even funny. Now let's just start. First thing I would like to talk about is the skill leveling. This is the order that I think is the best fit for her. Number 1 would be the Resonance Liberation. This is her entire identity. This is what triggers Reminiscence, which is where the majority of her damage lies and all her buffs come from. Max this first. Then I would switch to the Resonance skill. This is her setup move. Nailing the perfect release on this is how she generates energy fast. Also, she applies extra Glacial Chafe stacks in Chafe mode and gets into her liberation window quickly. This also needs to be a very high level. Then level up the Forte circuit, the passive that runs the entire engine. Traces build photos fuel Oblivion procs inside Reminiscence. The higher this is, the more damage the procs deal. Then I would switch it to the intro and outro skill, which applies immediate Glacial Chafe stack on entry and restore 100 trace. Last but not least, the basic attack. This one actually surprised me. Basic attack can be skipped completely in your levering priority. Her practical rotation barely even touches the raw basic attacks. Plus, the resources are better spent elsewhere, maybe even a different character. Now for the weapon, there are 3 different tiers. The best in slot would always be her signature weapon, Freeze Frame. And it deserved the best in slot weapon because it gives 24.3 crit rate and a very high base damage boost. But the passive is where it gets very serious. The moment she applies Glacial Chafe, she gets a 30% Glacial bonus for herself, and the entire team gets a 24% attack buff for 30 whole seconds. The team-wide attack increase activates naturally through her rotation, which would be a huge buff for someone like Hyuki. And now for the alternative, the first one would be String Master, which was Yinlin's signature weapon. This also gives us a nice main stat for basic damage, but the great thing is that it gives us 35.9 crit rate, also increasing the attack by 12%, stacking up to 2 times, and this effect lasts for 5 seconds. And for the second alternative, I would go with Whispers of Siren, which is Cantrella's signature weapon. Now this is a little bit different because this gives us crit damage at 72%, also increasing attack by 12%. And this weapon specifically hits very hard. It gives Lucilla a 40% damage attack bonus when she casts her Echo skill. Now if you have the Battle Pass and you have Radiant Dawn at R5, that would be a great option because this gives crit damage as a secondary substat and attack and damage percent boost right at the start of her rotation. Now one more thing I have to say, what about the Cosmic Ripples, the standard 5-star weapon? It's actually not very ideal for Lucilla because the energy region passive is completely wasted on her because she has 0 energy requirements. And it has no crit secondary stat. But if it's the only option you have, I guess it will suffice. Now Echoes, this is where Lucilla is very interesting because she actually has 3 different sets depending on which team you're running her in. The first set would be Wishes of Quiet Snowfall. This is her standard go-to. The 2-piece gives a 10% Glacial damage bonus, but the 5% is where it gets very interesting. It applies Glacial Chafe build stacks towards a crit rate buff on Liberation cast, and her outro passes a 25 Glacial damage bonus to incoming characters. That's pretty much self-buffing and single target support wrapped in one set. The main echo for this set would be Glamour, which also adds via outro another 12% of Glacial damage bonus to whoever she's swapping into. Now set number 2 is Moonlit Clouds, and this specific set would be only used in Echo skill teams. The 2-piece energy regen is wasted on Lucilla since she has no energy cost on her liberation, but the 5-piece gives via outro a 22% attack boost. That's clean attack amplification for your Echo skill carry. And your main echo for this set would be the Heron. For the main stats, the 4-cost echo, I would go for crit damage or crit rate, aiming roughly for a 1-to-2 ratio overall. The 3-cost, I would go with glacial damage bonus, or swap 1 to attack percent if the substats are flawless. The 1-cost echo, I don't even have to say it, just attack percent. For the substat priority, I would go for crit rate or crit damage, then attack percent, and then also basic damage percent, but only running in chafe mode. In echo mode though, basic damage is almost completely useless, so just cut it out entirely and just run with attack percent. Your level 90 target stats would be crit rate around 70-ish% and crit damage around 250. Now for teams, that would be very specific with how you want to play with Lucilla. Her Glacial Chafe Hypercarry team would be Hyuki, Lucilla, and then Chisa. Hyuki as the main DPS, hitting extremely hard with the mix of Liberation and Basic Attack. Lucilla sits in the sub DPS/support slot. She amplifies everything, shreds Glacial Res by 8% via her Spotlight, and pushes 60% Chafe damage vulnerability through her outro. Chisa rounds it up as a healer and a buffer. Also, Shorekeeper or Verena can fill the third slot if you don't have Chisa, but Chisa is the best pick for the specific team. And this is also where you would use the Echo Set Wishes of the Quiet Snowfall. But for the Moonlit Clouds, you would go with Sigrika, Lucilla, Shorekeeper, or Verena. Her switches to Echo mode. Her outro now gives a 50% bonus for Echo skill damage. Her Inherit skill Spotlight gives the whole team a 25% Echo skill damage bonus for 30 seconds. And her Zoom stacks from the Forte gives Sigrika's Echo skill a 40% per damage. Now for rotation, I'm telling you right now, this is the easiest rotation in the game for a hybrid character. First, use the intro, clip it, swap in, immediately proc your intro. This applies 1 Glacial Chafe stack and restores 100 trays, which converts immediately into 2 photos, and you need 3 photos in total to trigger Liberation. And then you would use the Resonance skill Spotlight with the perfect release. Hold the Resonance skill button. The lens that forms around Lucilla has 2 gray zones. About a quarter of a second into the animation, those zones turn gold. Release the button right there, and that's the perfect release. Gives you 20 extra energy, restores 50 more trace, and now your third photo is loading. And in Chafe mode adds an extra Glacial Chafe stack, misstack window, and you get the Compensate instead, which still works, but you will lose a lot of bonus stacks and energy. 3 would be Liberation, clear as day. All 3 photos are now loaded. Just activate Liberation. She enters Reminiscence. This grants 30% basic attack damage in Chafe mode, or also a 30% skill damage in Echo mode. Then you would hold basic attack through the entirety of Reminiscence. She changes basic attack forms stage 1, 2, and 3, and during stage 3, she burns photos one by one through Oblivion procs. Each one applies Glacial Chafe in Chafe mode or counts as a separate Echo skill cast in Echo mode. Just keep holding the basic attack until the chain is completed. Last but not least, letting it go. Using the outro skill, that's the final moves, and she would be immune to interruption and immune to incoming damage during letting it go. And that's pretty much the whole loop. Intro, skill, ultimate, heavy attack for 3 times, and then use the outro. That was pretty much it for me. And here's my question for the comments. Which mode are you building her? Glacial Chafe with Hyuki or the Echo mode with Sigrika? Because I see people trying to run her without committing to either, and it's leaving damage on the floor. Also, let me know what character do you want me to build next. And if this helped, please subscribe. Blueprint Wednesday drops every single week, and next week may be some character you've been waiting for.